What has clicked for Josh Allen in your Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think there's no question. Last year he turned the corner in a big way. He's confident. He's got all the tools. I mean, the guy can throw it anywhere you want on the field. This is his fourth year in the same offensive system with the same offensive coordinator, same play caller. He and Steph Diggs have got some chemistry. So does Cole Beasley. Gabriel Davis in his second year has really got pushed to the back burner this year, where he played a real role last year because of Emmanuel Sanders coming over. And I thought this might happen, but I didn't know it was going to happen in such a big way. Dawson Knox took a huge step forward at tight end. His first couple of years, you saw flashes of what he was capable of. But like last year, he got COVID and he tweaked a calf muscle, so it was a kind of a herky-jerky. And it was the same thing his rookie year. He had the drops his rookie year. So he started working on catching the ball more consistently, worked long and hard at it, got a sports psychologist to get his mind right when the ball was coming in. He didn't fight it. You know how it is, Key, when you get some of these guys that they feel like every catch is a Super Bowl catch and they start fighting it instead of just doing what they do. He fixed all of that stuff. He's staying healthy, went out and started working on his craft, running better routes, and all of a sudden now they've got Dawson Knox playing like one of the best tight ends in the league. And, those guys are difference makers. When you've got a really good tight end, it's hard to duplicate, man. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find a guy to match up. So he gives them another dimension. So all that stuff coming together has really put Josh Allen in a spot where they're humming. I mean, they are really humming. I think Zach Moss's emergence here in his second year at running back, he is a tough, physical runner. Their running game has become more consistent. I don't think they're ever going to run the ball more than 40% of the time. They're about a 60-40 split now. They'll never run it any more than that, but when they do, man, oh, man,
Steve,
that really adds a tougher dimension to their offense.
Steve, when they played the Houston Texans and when they played the Dolphins, when they shut those teams out, then what we saw them do to the Kansas City Chiefs, what's the difference this year about their defense as opposed to last year?
It's all their front four. They've got 8 guys. They've got 11 guys on the roster that are playing D-line, both in defensive tackle, defensive end. They kept a ton of defensive linemen. They deactivated 2 defensive tackles last week, Vernon Butler and Harrison Phillips. And they had 9 guys rotating through on the defensive line in Kansas City. And they've upgraded it at a number of levels. Greg Rousseau has come in as a rookie. He's enormously tall, got a ton of length. He had the tipped interception the other night in Kansas City for against Pat Mahomes. His pass rushing skills have really started to come in, and the guy sets the edge of the defense in the run game too. Really been a pleasant surprise as a rookie. Starlo Tulele has come back from opting out last year. He's a big body, big penetrator. He's an offensive line magnet. He can soak up a double team and split a double team if you don't do it right. That's freed up Ed Oliver to play better. Jerry Hughes is playing better even this deep into his career. Mario Addison is playing better. Their front four has taken their defense from the middle of the pack a year ago to the number 1 defense in the league this year. It's all the difference is all up front. The secondary is outstanding. Don't get me wrong. Tre'Davious White, Michael Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Levi Wallace, and Taron Johnson are as good as any secondary overall in the league. But the thing that's made the biggest difference for that team has been those guys up front.
Feels like talking to Steve Tasker, former Buffalo Bill great, of course, 7-time first-team All-Pro.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy. 7-time first team.
Doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, we're not talking about Pro Bowl. We're talking about first team All-Pro. That's insane. So the Bills were constructed in the offseason to overcome the Kansas City Chiefs. And they went out and did it, right? Early in the season, Chiefs have lost a couple other games too. But what do you think that does to the team moving forward?
I'll say this. I was on those Bills teams in the 90s, and, before we went to 4 straight Super Bowls, there was a game in the year before we went to the first Super Bowl in 1990 where I think we were like 11-2 or even 12-2 at one point. And we went into New York to play the Giants. You know, Lawrence Taylor, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Phil Simms, you know, Carl Banks, the whole crew in New York with the Giants. And they were they had the exact same record we did. I think they were 12-2 as well. And we went into that game, and beat that team on the road in that building in that season. And we were 12-2 going into that. But I'll say this, that game proved it to us, ourselves. I've never been I was part of AFC championship wins, all of that stuff. None of them were as happy a locker room as it was when we beat that crew in a regular season game, because that was a game when we realized how good we were. I think that's what happened a little bit on Sunday night in Kansas City for the Buffalo Bills. They proved it to themselves that they'd reached a point where, they could play with anybody. There was no one team out there that you didn't know if you could beat. They know now, they proved it to themselves that they can beat anybody. And I think that was a big step for this team in Buffalo, that they proved it to themselves, not just to everybody out there.
Steve, not being a homer of sort for the Buffalo Bills, but are they at the top of the class in the AFC? Are they, and who could be the biggest threat to them? Is it Baltimore?
Yeah, they're up there. I think they took that mantle away from Kansas City for the moment, but I think Baltimore's up there because Baltimore has to look at Buffalo and say, you know, they're the team that put us out of the playoffs last year. They're the team, you know, because I think Buffalo now has the target that Kansas City wore for so long. I think that the LA Chargers are right there. Justin Herbert is the real deal.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.